Okay, but this lighting is fire. So, wait.
I disagree.
Yeah, okay.
And then rip open my clothes and it's just fur coming out. I was gonna go like this, but I don't want to stab myself.
Chinny chin chin.
That's crazy.
The big bad wolf. Huffed and puffed and huffed and puffed and huffed and puffed and huffed and puffed. Oh my god. And huffed and puffed. And huffed and puffed.
This is crazy.
And huffed and puffed.
Bacon remaster.
Like, here's good.
Here's good. Here's good. Here's good.
Okay, Bacon BTS, take one. What's going on? I'm Oliver.
I'm Eddie.
I'm Ryan.
And we're Primitive Digital. And we made a short horror film called Bacon.
And we decided to remake it a year later, but for good reason.
So why did we even choose to make a horror film like Bacon? Let's say it.
Well, remember, we were like trying to do a horror film, but we didn't feel like a conventional format was really fitting for us. We really wanted to try to do something unique and different. And because of that, we really looked into the world of analog horror and just like lost media, just projects. I mean, a big inspiration, of course, is Mandela Catalogue. And just like a little random one, Too Many Cooks by Adult Swim. Just like pieces of media that you're not supposed to see and messing with the format and like, especially with Too Many Cooks, taking something innocent and adding a twist to that, seeing what we could do with that. And we thought The Three Little Pigs was a really good place to start.
With like analog horror, like specifically, we saw like a lot of it is all live action with some like Photoshop little like creepy pictures. So we thought we'd do our little spin on it by doing it all animated, all hand drawn, and just making that our own unique little film.
When it came to pre-production for this film, we really decided to challenge ourselves to do something that we haven't done before, which is to make every element of the film in-house. It came from the soundtrack, the drawings, the animation, everything. We wanted to do it from scratch and to do it in our own style. There was no point in doing it and then finding stuff online, anything like that. We really knew we had a voice in this film and we wanted to express it.
Because I feel like every like kind of like creator or filmmaker or whatever, they always go through hours of really bad music, really bad assets, and we kind of just gave up. We're like, we're gonna do it ourselves. So we kind of like learned how to do that through this project.
Yeah, and it's cool because after this project, it opened us to more of these kinds of opportunities and future projects. I remember we were talking, like it'd be really cool if we like filmed everything on a camcorder. Instead we used like an iPhone, and we used our actual camera, like our Canon camera, for the actual talking head of the wolf.
I feel like we knew exactly what we wanted it to look like in the end, but we were just too ambitious and we had too little time to really get our vision across.
And when the final product came out, we all liked it and we were all very proud of what we did, but we knew there was something left to be desired.
When every filmmaker, finishes a project, they always think like, what could they do to have made it better?
No one enjoys a project when they finish it.
You always finish something and you see all the little mistakes and all the things you could have fixed. And for us, like we immediately found that right when we released it. So we thought it was over, like we were just gonna move on, work on the next project. But we then came up with the idea of maybe adapting the film into a children's book. When I began work on the adaptation for the book, I realized since I'm already redoing all the artwork, I thought, why not just redo the whole film? As we went along with the process, our inspiration started to change. We wanted to go more ambitious, more unsettling, and a big inspiration for us was Jack Stauber. Just the way he does everything, the way he makes everything look authentic and just look weird and creepy. And that was a huge inspiration for the way that we presented the whole world of Bacon.
And then just from there, we started to look at every single element, just being like, how can we do this like 10 times better?
When approaching the artwork, I really wanted to make everything just a lot more detailed, a lot more ambitious, putting more depth, like texture, character, just everything, make everything look hand-drawn, make everything look authentic. That was a big deal for us and really unsettling by how real it looks. As we were first like thinking of things we could add and things we could make scarier, I came up with the idea of kind of challenging myself and doing like actual frame by frame animation for just one shot. That specific window scene in the original was our favorite. I still look back on that and I'm still proud of that moment. We made it just even better with that frame by frame animation. It just made the whole like moment so much more scarier.
It was funny. I remember the first time you guys showed me like on the screen, I actually jumped. I was like, oh my God, like it genuinely like scared me.
5 seconds. We got 5 seconds. All
right, do it again. That looks terrifying. Another element in the film that, looking back at it, we wanted to change and add a bit more to was actually the ending, because the ending was kind of just happened so fast and didn't have that punch that we wanted.
Because there's all this build up throughout the film and it just pays off in like 30 seconds. So it really didn't reach the expectations that we wanted for it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had the idea of like, what if instead of kind of keeping in this analog horror box, we kind of break out of it and turn it into more of a cinematic found footage. We had the idea of like flipping the script and going, instead of the murderer's perspective that happens throughout the entire, majority of the film, we have it from the child's perspective, the one who's going to be killed. And I think having it from that perspective adds a lot more rawness and intensity to what could happen. And I think the ending has a stronger payoff, definitely.
Another element that we went back to was the soundtrack, and we definitely wanted to make it just the slightest bit more unsettling. We put more cassette emulation, more wobble, sounding just out of pitch.
Because with the old one, the music is simple and the artwork is simple, but adding more depth into the soundtrack as well really fleshed it out even more. Especially with the performance. I mean, whenever I look back on something that I've acted in, I'm always like cringing and always like, oh my God, I wish I said this way differently. And especially for Bacon, I was looking at all the little things and I was like, oh, I could have said this a lot better. I could have made this a little more interesting. Especially with the dialogue, try to cut out all the unnecessary bits and just get that story down to what it really needed to be.
So mid-October hits and we get right into filming, and we finally have our weapon of choice, the camcorder. And we're finally able to shoot this how we wanted to and give it that authentic look. And this time around, we really wanted to play around with the look and the shooting style to make it something a lot more sinister. We had this shot of red coming from underneath him. So every time he would lean forward, it had this kind of like evil kind of aura.
Something that I love that you guys ended up doing was that one shot of, you slowly rising up at the window and you in the bed squirming. Because it's like, it's a homage back. Yeah, it's a homage back to the original.
And it was weird because when I was filming and I was at the point of view of the little kid, I would run and hop and kind of like squirm around like a little kid. Like,
I was there.
Like all the little kid sounds you hear are me.
Yeah. But while you guys were here doing fun little chase sequences, I was kind of going deranged with my popsicle stick endeavor. A big aspect of the animation for the original Bacon is, if you look at it, the characters just like hop around, and the reason for that is because we thought it'd be cool if it's like, oh, we put them on popsicle sticks and, it's like, someone is controlling them. But we realized like doing that digitally, that would just look really weird and unrealistic. So we kind of just let it hop on its own. But, coming back into it, I kind of was like, I'll challenge myself. Let's record these popsicle sticks. Let's track it and see if we can put the characters on it. I had a big green piece of paper and a popsicle stick, multiple of them. And just for minutes on end, I'd just be like slowly moving them around, so you could get that realistic motion of it. We call it bouncing. So from there, going in After Effects and trying to track it, which didn't really work. So I had to go frame by frame, moving the keyframes. But the end result, I'm so happy with how it turned out.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
It was so worth it.
And another thing I did was I took the layers of the final brick house sequence and kind of printed them out on my printer I have. It's not the best, which works in this case. So I got just paper towels, wet them, and just messed with the printed out layers. And it was like just a really easy way to get this like very distressed look. And I brought them into Photoshop, kind of lined it up with the actual composition. And from After Effects, I just made a sequence where it rapidly jumbles through. So at this point, we're all locked in doing our own thing, and we kind of just check in on each other, see what we're all doing.
After editing for hours and hours on end, me and Eddie were both on Ryan's bed, and then we just see Ryan editing, and he's like a machine, like locked in, you know, wired in. And then me and Eddie, we're on the bed, we're comfortable, and then we just pass out. I think around this time it was like 2, 3 in the morning. It was one of those like AMs, right? And then I close my eyes or whatever. I wake up, Eddie's not there, and Ryan's still in the exact same position. And I'm like, yo, Ryan, what time is it? And then he's like, it's like 10 or like 11. And I'm like, what? It was so funny. And right after Ryan hands me the final project, he's like, all right, now all you need to do is export. I'm like, okay. I watch it back, and then there's some things that are just missing. And I know Ryan didn't mess anything. I think it's just Premiere or something, but something's deleted.
It's Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
It's Premiere Pro.
I hate Adobe Premiere. So we had to add more time just to refix what we just saw was fine. And then we finally exported it, and all was well. Till we decided to add even more authenticity by refilming it. Literally.
When we decided to use the camcorder, we thought early on like it would be a great idea just to like refilm everything after we finished and give it that extra layer of authenticity. Like that was definitely taking some inspiration from Jack Stauber. The way he just like absolutely destroys all of the footage that he gets. We just did it on the laptop in the closet, just have the camcorder filming the finished product. But like it came out amazing. Like it came out way better. Like it was just that extra little touch that just made everything look so much more real and authentic.
Yeah, because when you do something like that, you're obviously sacrificing the sharpness and like the color and like the illumination, but that's exactly what you would want in this scenario. Just like the natural like glow from the screen already makes it feel like, you know, this is like real.
I mean, in the end, this was like the original vision I had for Bacon. This is what I saw in my head when we were thinking of all the ideas and all the animation, all the illustration. This is what I wanted, and I think we just achieved everything that I wanted to do.
I don't think any of us a year ago would be able to make it at this scale. So, you know, getting some time away from the project, working on new things, and just like honing in our skills in that time really like is what allowed us to do this again and do it, you know, well.
And like we're still improving. We still learned a lot from this project. And all these little things that we learned are just going to be pushed forward into all our other projects. Even after the original Bacon, and especially after this one, like redoing our own work and seeing what we could improve upon, I've been so deep into this animation idea that we're of course going to work more on upcoming like animation ideas, upcoming animation films and stuff like that.
And later down the line, we're working on a very exciting short film. We're in the process of writing. It's not going to come out for a long time, so please don't expect anything soon. But
we're working on it.
We're so excited for it. We're so excited for it.
Yeah.
Yep. Primitive Digital.
Yeah. So watch Bacon. Watch Everyone Dies. We'll see you next time.
YouTuber, sign off.
Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe.
And don't forget to. And then just cut it.
How do people do this YouTube? Should we do like an actual sign off, or is that just fine?
We're just gonna cut through some clips.
Bye bye.
Okay, that's it.